Boom, we here.
Tech just loves when the energy is like amazing. Tech just loves to like do this to us, you guys. Welcome everyone. I was trying to have like music going and all of this stuff. We have people coming in. Hello everyone. Hi everyone.
I was just laughing, Bren. I was just thinking, like, in case anyone like thinks that Mercury retrograde is not a real thing, likes to mess with tech, we just proved that, Mythbusters. So,
and also the chat, we have to allow us to talk to everyone.
Yes, thank you for reminding me about that one. Let me get the chat thing fixed, everyone, and everyone gets to do that. All right, you guys, by the way, too, on the top, you'll see on your chat, for those of you guys who are new, I don't want to assume everybody knows how to use Zoom. There's a little chat box on the bottom of your screen. If you click that, there should be a little blue line at the top that says 2, and usually it has this like host and panelist, but go ahead and click everyone. And let us know where you're tuning in from, because I'm just curious, like, who's coming in from where.
I'm up in Jersey over here. So where are my people from Jersey? East Coast.
Indiana, San Antonio. We got people from all over. I'm so excited.
Indiana,
New York, South Africa. Hey, Lungi.
So good to see you.
Okay. Houston, Sacramento, more San Antonio, Baltimore. Welcome, you guys. Oh my God, I'm so excited.
Ooh, Laura, El Paso. I lived there for a little bit. Love El Paso.
Yes, Charlotte in the house. All right. I'm still like, oh God, it was so much. I'm over here.
You good, sis? You good?
I am. We got another Humboldt. Lord is here. I just wanted to give everyone the minute to come in, but it seems like people are starting to come in. And so as you start to come in, drop where you're from in the chat. Also, make sure you grab a pen and paper. You guys are going to need some kind of note taking. Yes, look at that pen. My pen is over here. I think I got this pen from like Nicaragua. It's all wooden. I like it. I like the feeling of it in my hand. All right. So as people drop in, I think I'm just going to kind of get going with the intro, because I want to be mindful of time. And yes, we had a little tech thing, but tech just be teching, especially when the energy's high. We've seen that, Leanne, where like we'll be in the middle of recording something and then it shuts off, it kicks us off, you know. Blue and I, one time we're doing an Instagram live, it was amazing, and it just kept cutting out. Like, it's happening. And yes, Mercury is retrograding for us.
Life be life, and like I always say, okay, so yes. This is nothing new.
No, it's not. We're pros at life be lifing. All right, you guys. So decisions, decisiones, that is why we are all here today, because either you're here to support me and I love you for that, or you're here because something is going on and you're like, you know what, I need to make some decisions, decide that shit sounds catchy, I'm gonna go see what this is about. But I want to start by sharing something with you guys that is my daydream life, right? And lately this daydream has been coming to me of just like, I'm in my childhood home. I'm having this pool party. My kids are there. All the people that have been helping me grow and really expand are there. You know, I'm welcoming Esperanza. I'm welcoming Blue, Leanne, Dramos. Like, I'm welcoming in all of these people to my childhood home and having this pool party. There's currently not a pool there, you guys, but I'm having this pool party. And mind you, my childhood home is like 3 blocks away from the Watts Towers. I grew up in Watts. That's my hood. And before this pool party, we did this amazing photo shoot with amazing people that are from my community. And that vision, that daydream keeps coming up for me. And I'm holding on to it, right? Because I don't know how, I don't know when, but I just know that this is going to happen one day, right? With that too, I want to let you guys know to go ahead and grab that pen and paper, because you're going to be needing it. And also, I want to remind everyone here today that we are all humans. I am a being. We are all beings here, you know, so I this summit comes to you guys from that being perspective. I am not perfect by any means, not holier than thou by anything. The other day, Blue mentioned something that she had no more human idols left. And it struck me, like it stayed with me. And I was like, what do you mean? You know, right? And as the week went by, I sat with it and I was just like, okay, I get it. No human idols left. Like, yes, we can look up to people. Yes, people can inspire us, motivate us, be our mentors, be our what they call prophets. Like prophets are the people that can see your future, right? They can hold on to that vision for you. And which I say my panelists here are my prophets. These speakers are the people that can see the future me. So just keep that in mind as we go through this summit, because you are a being as well. If you haven't recognized it or took it in yet, you are. And then, so with your pen and paper, we're going to get right into the first thing, right? So we're good right now with time, and I think it's a pretty time to get started, but grab your pen and paper, and I want you to set an intention. And by intention, I'm saying, what did you come here for? And I like this awkward silence and this awkward pause, right? Because a lot of times we ask ourselves these questions, what am I doing here? You know, whatever it is that you're asking yourself, but then you just go on. You don't actually stop and write it down, right? And so I wrote down my intention just to give you guys a little feel of what I'm coming here with. So my intention is to help you make some big decisions today. And specifically, I want to write down 4, but help you make some big decisions. And the big and I want to get you to face your daydream life. Yeah. Because so many of you guys say when and if and this, right? But I want you to be able to face that today. Or maybe you haven't had the opportunity because life be lifing and you haven't had the opportunity to even dream about what your daydream life is or wander. But here's the opportunity. And Priscilla says, I came here for community. Community really helps me feel seen and heard. So I'm here to receive the wisdom and energy from this room. Thank you, Priscilla. And you're in the right spot, my friend, because you're going to get the wisdom and energy for sure. Okay, so I hope you guys have written down your intentions, and on your paper too, if you want an easier way to help you stay focused is my intention is, and you're writing your intention, and then write, I'm deciding, and write that 4 times. I'm deciding, I'm deciding, I'm deciding, I'm deciding, right? And then at the bottom, put my daydream life is. And we'll leave that on your sheet of paper. You know, you have your intention, you're going to make 4 decisions, and then you're going to face your daydream life. Okay, you guys. So we're going to kick this off. Without further ado, we have our first speaker, Leanne. She is the host of Watch Us Thrive, and she is also a relationship coach and just a fucking amazing person. She has said this herself, and which is why exactly I wanted to keep my introduction short and sweet and say that this is true. I second that. She's an amazing fucking person. And so, Leanne, please, I'll leave it to you.
Oh my gosh. I am so fucking nervous. I'm gonna put that out there right now, okay? This is my first ever virtual panel speaking gig. So I just want to say thank you guys, everyone, for being here. I'm so honored. I do have a little presentation that I want to share with you guys. So I'm going to share my screen. Oh, I can't. It says host disabled participant screen sharing. Hold on 1 second, guys. Thank you, Shakita, my Virgo twin. I see you in the chat. Let me know. And you're muted. I can't hear you, sis.
Does it tell you anything about like ask permission to share or let's see, maybe I will can
you make me like a
that's
like
what I'm
co-host
thinking. Yes, that's what I'm thinking. I'm gonna make you a co-host and then you just go up to your thing.
Okay, you got it.
Or maybe
While we figure out the tech, I just want to say, Bren, I love how you place the intention at the forefront, because every single one of us are going to get what we came for today. And we can't get what we came for if we don't know what we're here for. That's why the intention is so important.
Period.
Exactly
Yep.
that process. Yep.
So
Can
good.
y'all see my my screen? You guys can see it? Okay, good.
Yeah.
This is my first time doing Zoom, so please bear with me. And I want to share my intention before I even start with my presentation. My intention, I have four for today, is to get over my fear of public speaking. So boom, we're there. My intention is to be seen. Hello, hi, welcome. My intention is to allow my feelings of fear and anxiety and happiness and joy all be comfortable together. I'm the type of person that like, I'm not really used to, like, I only want to feel one feeling and then another one that comes up. I'm like, no, these two can't coexist with one another. But I'm learning, and with my life coach, shout out to Karina F. Daves, she is allowing me to feel these feelings and be okay with them showing up at the same time. And my last intention is to grow and to level up. Okay. So boom, we here. All right, I'm going to present. Y'all don't even understand the drama that I had putting this together, but it's okay. We doing it. Present full screen. Let's do it. Ooh, I'm shaking, but we got it. All right. Hello, everyone. Hi,
Okay.
hello. Yes, thank you. My name is Leanne Torres. I am one of the keynote speakers for the Decide That Shit Summit. I decided that shit and you can too. Okay. So before we even get started, I want to say once again, thank you to everyone who's here. Thank you to Bren for putting this together. Thank you for considering me to be one of the people to be able to share just a little bit of my story. Thank you to Blue and Esperanza for also being here too. I'm really excited to learn more about you two. And I'm just really humble, grateful, honored to be given this opportunity to use my voice to take my power back, which you guys are going to learn about. And I'm going to be going back and forth in the chat, so bear with me, but thank you. And thank y'all for being here. You know, this is a really special day. Today's Earth Day, okay? And I'm just really, really excited to be able to introduce myself to people who are meeting me for the first time, and also people who know me. Hey, y'all, thank you for being here. Love you. All right, hold on. Let me click. There you go. Okay, so I'm starting off with this quote by the legendary Tony Robbins. A lot of you know him. It is in your moments of decision that your destiny is shaped. And when I saw this quote, it really, really resonated with me and my own story that I'm going to share with you guys. But, you know, I've made a lot of decisions in my life, both good and bad, and they have brought me here to the point that I am today. So I think this is really important, that every single decision that you make, good and bad, is for a reason. So who am I? Let me move this out the way. She cute over there. My name is Leanne, and I feel like when people ask this question, who are you? We tend to start off with introducing ourselves with our titles, with the letters that we may have after our name. You know, I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a this, I'm a that, but I really wanted to start off with going a little bit deeper and being super vulnerable. If you guys know me, you know that I keep it all the way raw and real. And I wanted to just highlight a couple things about me when I really asked myself this question, like, who is Leanne? So I'm on a never-ending journey of figuring out who the fuck I am, right? I'm going to be 35 this year. And I feel like this is the first time in my life that I'm really getting to know myself by myself. And I'll explain that a little bit later. I'm someone who's very uncomfortable when putting myself out there, but I'm doing the scary shit anyway. I'm someone who survived some really traumatic and shitty situations, and I'm also learning to be at peace with my past. I'm someone who embraces my transparency. I'm someone who struggles with my mental health every so often. And I'm someone who is proud as fuck of the woman that I am today. So I definitely wanted to start off with that. And then I'm also a single mother. I'm an entrepreneur, business owner, personal development coach. I'm the founder, CEO, podcast host of Watch Us Thrive. And most importantly, I am a survivor and an advocate for domestic violence awareness. And the decision of me starting my podcast and my business was after going through probably was what was the most traumatic thing that I've ever gone through in my life. And I've talked about it a lot, but for anyone who is meeting me for the first time, I do want to put a trigger warning that this can be triggering for some. So what did I go through? Back in 2020, when the world was a fucking mess, I met someone who I thought was my forever. I met my soulmate, or so I thought, my Prince Charming. And before that, I was in an 8.5 year long situationship. You see what I did there, Bren? And I was casually dating, or what I like to say, I was in my hoe phase, right? On the apps, being reckless, not really healing and grieving from the loss of that really toxic relationship that I was in. And then I ended up meeting my ex-boyfriend on an app called Plenty of Fish, which should really be called Plenty of Felons, but that's another conversation for another day. And I thought that was the one. I thought, like I said, I found my forever. And it was great in the beginning until it wasn't. And then the lust and the obsession really started to wear off. And the mask that he was wearing was slowly starting to come off. And a lot of things happened in between, even though me and him were only together for 10 months, but it felt like 10 years. But on the night of March 12th, 2021, he assaulted me physically, emotionally, verbally, to the point that he almost killed me. And I had to escape my apartment, or else I wouldn't be here to share the story. And there's a little link right here. I don't know if you guys can click on it, but if you want to listen to the full in-depth story of that relationship, it's episode 10 of my podcast. It's called My Personal Story of Surviving Domestic Violence. And it talks about everything. It talks about how I met him. It talks about the things that we experienced. It talks about the night of March 12th, 2021 and what I went through. And again, there is a trigger warning. And the next slide that I'm going to show you, there is a trigger warning there that I want to put out there now. So after that night, I was lost. I was confused. I felt like a failure because I had like just failed relationship after failed relationship under my belt. The last one was the absolute worst one that I ever went through. And a lot of people don't like to use the word that they were broken, but a bitch was fucking broken, right? Like I was at the lowest point of my life. I ended up losing my car. I lost my apartment. I moved back home. I got fired from my job. My unemployment ran out. Like literally a bitch was fucking broken. And yes, these physical wounds, it's what I experienced, and eventually they healed and they faded away. But the emotional scars that I was left because of this relationship and the situations that I was in before, I couldn't handle it. So what did I do? There's something in the chat. I just want to see. Okay, yes, she's put in my podcast. You guys can check it out. So what did I do? I decided enough was enough. I decided I was sick and tired of being sick and tired of my own shit. And I don't say that like I deserved what happened to me, because absolutely not. But I did have to take accountability in my role of feeling like being in a relationship like that was okay, because the abuse happened on and off. And it wasn't until that night that I decided no more, like I'm not doing this anymore because I deserve more than what I was experiencing. I decided I was worth more than the relationships I was attracting. I decided it was time to start healing those really deep rooted wounds that I had ignored for so long. Like I said before, I was in an 8.5 year long on and off situationship, and I really didn't heal. I was living in New Jersey. I escaped to Florida, and that's how I attracted my ex-boyfriend, because I just did not want to deal with the pain of losing a relationship and just use someone else to mask that pain. And that's why I ended up in this really toxic relationship. I decided to let go of my shame. I decided to start loving on me. I decided to speak up, and I decided to do something different. Now I say that because, like I said, I was always the type of person who would just use someone else to mask the pain that I was feeling. And that was very unhealthy. And I wanted to do something different, because if I decided to keep going down that route, it would have just been the same thing. And I said, no more. Like, girl, I was what, 32 years old, 33 years old. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing with your life? Like, this ain't it. So During this whole process is when I decided to create my podcast called Watch Us Thrive. So I decided to start using my voice. And like I said, a huge part of my healing journey has been starting my podcast. It's been a form of therapy for me to not only share what I've been through, but to also feature people like Bren. Her episode actually released this past week. I invite y'all to check it out. You can click that link right there and it'll go to her episode, who come on to share their own life experiences of what they've gone through and how they've been able to turn their pain into their purpose and their trauma into their triumph. My slogan for my podcast is, we're going to talk about the shit that you don't want to talk about, but it needs to be talked about. And trauma and abuse and a lot of the shit that we go through, we need to have a place where we can have those uncomfortable conversations. And it really started with me talking about what I experienced and has now turned into a beautiful platform where people come on. Let me look in the chat. How do you click on the link? I don't know, but I will put it in the chat for you if you can't click it. Looking for mentorship. Yes. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. So what I want you to do now that I've shared a little bit of my story is that it's time for y'all to decide that shit. I want you to understand that there is power in using your voice to talk about what you've been through, especially as, trauma survivors. We're so used to suffering in silence, and I don't want that for you, because when I was in that relationship, no one knew what the fuck I was going through. And it wasn't until my life was almost taken from me that I decided I'm not going to continue suffering in silence and being in this cycle that I feel like I'm so alone. Because once I started speaking up, I realized I wasn't alone and I wasn't the only person going through this. And I want you to know that sharing your story can be a form of healing. I want you to know that your vulnerability is your superpower. And that's something that I've realized by speaking up, by using my voice, by talking about the shit that I've gone through. Like, I've gone through some really traumatic shit, and I'm sure you guys have too. And I wanted you to know that, you can take your fucking power back just by speaking up. Like, that was the first step for me in order for me to start my healing, by just saying, I'm not okay, and that is okay. So let me be clear. I've said this so many times on my podcast that this healing journey is so fucking ghetto. And I don't like it, but really, honestly, being vulnerable and taking accountability and looking in the mirror has really, really changed my life. And I want to really take some time to reflect on some decisions that I have made in my own life. I think it's really important when we're on this healing journey that we always have these like boxes that we want to check, and we just want to go. And we don't really take the time to really reflect on how far we have come, especially going through trauma. Like, I had to sit down when I was putting this slide together to be like, what have I accomplished since March of 2021? And I put a list together that I'm pretty fucking proud of. So I left an abusive relationship. I moved back home, and I'm still here 2 years later. I healed my relationship with my daughter. Fortunately, she was not with me when the abuse was happening, but knowing what I experienced, our relationship was very not good. And being able to be home with her, we've really been able to heal that relationship. She's going to be 14 years old, and she's my best friend, and we tell each other everything. And I've been able to really do a lot of healing in these past 2 years. I started a new career. I was in the healthcare field for almost a decade, and I fucking hated it. And like I said before, I lost my job, and I just knew I didn't want to go back. So shout out to my sister, Janice of Yo Quiero Dinero. She hired me, and I became a podcaster, and I learned a lot of things from her. I made new friendships like Bren. I love you so much. I went to solo and group therapy, and I was always the type of person who thought therapy was for crazy people. Like, I didn't need that until I went through something so traumatic. I bought a car. I stayed single and celibate, and I still am, going on 2 years. Focused the relationship that I have with myself. I had weight loss surgery. I'm down almost 70 pounds, but your girl likes some snacks, so it's okay. But we're looking good and we're feeling better. I started my coaching business. I booked my first ever solo vacation. I'm going to Mexico for my 35th birthday this September. I'm so excited. I spoke at an in-person speaking event in New York City last month for Women's History Month, which was so fucking frightening, but I did it. I invested in a 4-figure life coach. Shout out to Karina F. Daves. And I decided to be a keynote speaker for this summit. So I did a lot of shit, y'all. Look in the chat real quick. What y'all saying? I can't multitask. I'm sorry. Thank you, guys. I'm going to read this in a minute, but I appreciate y'all for being here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So now that I've talked about a little bit of my story and what I've done, I really want y'all to take some time to reflect on the decisions you have made in your life from situations that you thought were going to destroy you, no matter how big or small they were. And if you feel called to unmute yourself, or if you want to just drop them in the chat, I really want us to be able to celebrate each other with the decisions we have made from probably some of the darkest moments in our lives. So I'm going to give y'all like a minute or so to do that. And if the speakers want to, say something, Brenda, if you want to share like something that you decided.
Yeah. So first of all, I know that people can't unmute themselves because it's a webinar style, but drop it in the chat. Drop in the chat what you have decided.
Drop it in the chat.
And for this share, I think because I have something that I'll speak about at the end of decisions I've made, but for this, I'll just share just deciding to host this summit, like deciding to actually reach out and be like, hey, can you do this and learn how to use this other tech and like really get everything together because it's been a process.
Yes, I love that for you so much. I love that. I love that. I'll wait for Blue and Esperanza because I'm sure they have a whole thing that they want to talk about. But yeah, I really want y'all to, just take some time at some point today. You can journal it out. What are some really major decisions that you've made? And again, it doesn't need to be like this grandiose type of thing. Just really reflect on how much you've grown from those moments that you thought were going to completely end you. So now, after you do that exercise, I want y'all to be honest as fuck with yourselves, because while it's great for you, like, the highlight reels and the celebration moments, let's also keep it 100. What decisions have you been avoiding to make in your life? So these are just some examples that I thought of that I was not deciding before I actually decided. So are you staying in that dead-end job because you're comfortable? Because you get a paycheck every 2 weeks, but you're overworked and underpaid? I know a lot of us do that. That was me. Are you holding on to that toxic relationship because you're scared to be alone? Again, that was me. This is really me talking to me, so please don't take offense if you're feeling called out, because this is Leanne having a conversation with herself. Are you procrastinating on launching that business idea because you're scared? Yes, that was me. Are you tolerating that toxic friendship because you lack boundaries, because you've known them for so long, but every time you have a conversation, your energy is just like, ugh. And are you waiting until Monday to finally start working out? Keep it real with yourselves, because that was me for the longest time. And I want y'all to remember that you're always one decision away from a totally different life, okay? Now, it's time for you to decide that shit. I want you to stop playing small, let go of excuses, and remember your motherfucking worth, okay? I want you to let whatever you receive during today's workshop to be what you need to hear in order for you to start making those decisions that are going to change your life. We only have one life to live. We're already about to be in May. I don't know where the fuck the time is going, but there really is no, I'm going to wait for the right time. The right time is right now. And like I said, y'all, I really want you to understand that it's okay to speak up and ask for help. That is what helped me start to make the different types of decisions when I spoke up and I was like, I need fucking help. I'm not okay. And you can do that too. All right. So because y'all are here, because y'all decided, and whether you're here live or if you're watching the replay, I would love to offer my 3 months of private one-on-one coaching for anyone who's looking for additional support on their personal development journey. As someone who has lost themselves being in these toxic relationships, toxic work environments, toxic friendships, I did not know who the fuck I was But what helped me was mentorship and being around people who were able to support me on my journey. So I'm going to drop it in the chat if this link isn't working, but you can book a free discovery call with me to see if we would be a good fit together. We'll get to know each other. You'll tell me what's going on with you, and we'll create an action plan to see how you can start rebuilding the relationship that you have with yourself. So I feel like us as women, especially, we're always doing for everyone else and we lose ourselves in the process. And what helped me was being able to have someone hold me accountable and help me make the decisions that I needed to make in order to level up. So before I finish, because you're here and you decided to be present in this moment, I'm taking an extra $300 off of my 3 months of coaching. It's originally priced at $19.97, but because you are here, I'm taking off $300 and it's going to be $16.97 for 3 months. And there's also a payment plan option available. But I don't want you to feel like this is just like a sleazy type of sales call. That's not really what it is, right? But I need to talk about what it is that I have to offer, because if I don't talk about it, no one's going to know, right? But if you're not ready to make a financial investment in yourself, that is perfectly okay. I want to extend an invite to anyone who's here or who's rewatching the replay. If you feel called to share your story on my podcast, there's no charge for that. I want you to reach out to me and let's talk. You can book a call with me. We're going to meet face to face like Zoom. You're going to tell me a little bit about your story, and I want to be able to create a safe space for you to feel safe and seen to talk about what you've gone through, because my podcast, like, not to toot my own horn, but it's fucking awesome. And I'm always looking for people to share their stories because there is such power, like I said before, in us talking about what we've gone through. So please reach out to me if you feel called to do so. Now, I want you to leave you with this quote that I found, shout out to Google, perfectly amazing. And it ties in with the quote that I started with Tony Robbins. You are the only one in charge of your destiny. Unfair things may happen to you and unfortunate times may come to you, but you always get to choose how you respond. You can live in frustration and bitterness, or you can be the bigger person and play the hell out of the cards you are dealt. The truth is, not a single person can choose the cards they receive, but everyone chooses how they play their cards. All right? So that's it. That's me. That's how you can follow me. Listen to my podcast. I don't know if these links are working. They're working on my end, but I'll drop them in the chat. I appreciate you guys so much for letting me, just tell a little bit about me and my story. And Bren, I love you so much. Thank you.
Ooh, I love you, Leanne. Thank you so much. I was over here taking notes and stuff.
Yes.
Thank you for this. And yeah, I tried to drop some of her like her podcast links and her Instagram, because if for some reason you just couldn't save the link or whatever, you can always find her on Instagram and DM her and she will get back to you. But yeah, people are asking for those links, Leanne, so go ahead and
I'll drop them
when you get a chance.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen right now.
And I loved that last quote too, of just like the hands that you're dealt and all of that, because funny enough, my side hustle is I'm a dealer. I deal cards, right, at a casino. And I've really been noticing that, like, I could deal someone a shitty hand, and depending on their perspective, they'll be like, yeah, give me another one, and they'll win, right? Or there's people that the minute they see their hand, they're just like, ugh, I fucking knew it. Da-da-da-da. And they lose, like, it's all up to us to decide how we see the cards that we're dealt. Literally, like literally from a dealer.
Yo, that's crazy. I did not even do that on purpose. Like, this was just the algorithm brought me this quote. I was like, damn, this is good. So thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, Leanne. I'll have that drop there. And maybe I'll just leave you as a co-host. It's fine. I don't need anything from there. But now, you guys, if you have any more questions, DM Leanne, send the chat on here. Next, we have another amazing soul that I just love. She is a healer and an artist. When I think of Blue, I just think healer first, but she is an amazing artist. Every time I hear her voice, my whole body just can calm. Like, our nervous system is usually like all out of whack, especially if you've come from any kind of survival mode. And yeah, it just seems to be kind of moving, But every time I hear Blue's voice, and you'll get it right now, it's just like brings me back down to earth, gets me grounded, and really helps me connect to that spiritual side of me. So Blue, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Ashe, Ashe says, thank you so much. Leanne, shout out, beautiful, beautiful. I'm so honored and so proud of you, sis. Like, I have chills and I got Terry. Like, thank you, thank you, thank you. First off, I just want to invite everybody to take a deep breath. Inhale. Inhale into your heart. Maybe put your hands on your heart and just exhale. Ooh. Come back to that intention you wrote. I'm honored to be here. And yeah, thank you, Bren. Thank you, Bren. I am Blue Nile. I put my Instagram in the chat real quick. Rooted in Power Healing. I first want to start with a quote from Oprah. She says, when I think of authentic power, I think of the power that occurs when purpose aligns with personality to serve the greater good. The secret is alignment. When you know for sure that you're on course and you're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing, fulfilling your soul's intention, your heart's desire. When your life is on course with its purpose, you are at your most powerful. And though you may stumble, you will not feel. Oprah, from what I know for sure. And Lord, I'll just share a little bit about me. I am born in Boston, moved to New York. I was signed really young in music. I'm a professional rapper, singer, dancer, actor, all that jazz. And I came from trauma. I'm a trauma survivor. I'm a trauma thriver. I published a book called Trauma Thriver. I'm a poet, I'm a speaker, but my spirituality, and I love that you think of Healer First, Bren, and thank you for having me come on here. Thank you for being such a powerful human and soul and willing and just beautiful. I love your authenticity. I love your power. I just love you. And I love that we haven't even met yet. It's a soul family. Like, you're part of my soul family, you know, and that's the power of amigahood, which shout out to We All Grow, that connected us all. I am honored and I'm proud to have been able to go through so much, right? And then because of music saved my life, being a rapper. And I moved, and then I thought I moved to Los Angeles for my career, but truly I moved here to save my life. So my dad died of addiction. And today, shout out to my Uncle Greggy. He died. He was the first, my father figure, who died today, April 22nd, back in 2000, when I just was graduating from high school and I got a record deal and my dreams were skyrocketing, okay? And my man in my life died, and overdose. And I'm going to have trigger warnings because my life is just what it is, but this is just the raw truth. But I want to just tell y'all, empower you. The answer is you. The answer is you. The answer is you. My intention is to empower you. My intention is to help you wake up. My intention is for me to remember more of my medicine from all my years and all my lives, and my little baby Nicole, baby Blue, okay, that was so powerful before I got sexually assaulted at 7 years old. Before then, when I saw my mother getting the shit beat out of her, okay? Before I got traumatized silent, I was able to find my voice because Oprah, honestly, I found Oprah, a woman, you know, I'm Black, mixed race, Afro-Caribbean, Jamaican, and I saw her on TV. I would just listen to her and I would find something and I'm like, okay, I can rap and sing. Guess that's my way out, you know, from the hood, from the projects. But during that time, I got dosed with drugs. I was on tour, opened up for 112, Jay-Z, Diddy, all these people, but specifically the 112 tour, and with Ja Rule, they were putting ecstasy in the champagne bottle. So that's how I started doing drugs. And I was gung-ho to not do drugs, y'all, because my mom was an addict. God bless her. I love her. I wish for her healing, but I'm her mother. She's my little sister. And I've done so much work to heal that mother-father wound. My dad's dead now, and he died of overdose. So this is a lot of trauma, and I'm turning it into thriving. But I'm 40 years old now, y'all. At 20 years old, I had a nervous breakdown. I was hospitalized. I was seeing, like, if you have seen the movie The Beautiful Mind, I had that experience. I'm a genius. I believe everybody that goes through trauma and survives the streets and survives and has addiction in the blood, straight up. I'm a recovered addict, 100%, because it's in my blood. I'm a recovered alcoholic, if you want to say alcoholism, but high functioning. I never went to rehab. And I like to tell people that because it's in my roots. If you ever black out, that's a red flag. I was blacking out all the time. And when I drink, I break out in cocaine. So therefore I can't drink. Okay, just to keep it 100 and keep it completely transparent with y'all. I didn't have the discipline because I didn't have the mentors, but I love to hear people who come from the perfect family dynamic and still don't know how to have emotional intelligence. And some people were just wired different. And the answer is not outside of me. It's not a man, a woman, a accolade, a sex, a fame, a social media. It's in me. The answer is me inside my heart. Okay. So fast forward, after I healed all that, I moved to New York City and I restarted my life, but still New York was just a bigger Boston. And fast forward, I decided to come to LA. I had some big opportunities for my career, but as soon as I got here, my dad died. And that allowed me to start therapy. I started therapy, and I've always been a healer since I was a little girl. I can see auras. I see energy fields. I see too much. I'm an empath. I'm a highly sensitive, psychic intuitive. And I thought I was crazy, y'all, because I was gaslit my whole life by people telling me, no, that didn't happen. No, that's okay. My mother, total, just traumatized, silent. She was a sex worker in New York at the age of 14, y'all. So in the 70s, okay, that she has gone through the most rugged stuff that I will make a movie of one day, because I still ain't seen this movie, okay? And God bless her. She did her best. But she left me with her pimps. And then what happened? You all know the story. So I wrote my way out. You know what I'm saying? I wrote my way out. I put pen to paper, rapped my ass off to get the hell out that city. Came to LA, dad died. I thought I was about to skyrocket. Fame was my number one thing. Accolades at the Grammys, working all these celebrities in my ego. Why I have no human idols left. I met them all. I met so many of them. And I'm telling you, 99% of them were miserable and really, really, really disappointed me. Okay. It's a shark eat shark business. So the Hollywood, the glamour, the idolizing, the celebrityhood, I have a line in one of my songs where it's like reality TV show is like, it's a psychosis. It's hypnotizing the world. Reality TV is produced. It's all fake. Tap into your power. So luckily I met a Reiki healer. I met a Reiki master on my set of a music video I was on. There was a Native American, and he came up to me. He was using sage to light it up. This is how God works, y'all. This is how universe works. And I say gift of divine. I'm spiritual, not religious. And intention is to decolonize, destigmatize, de-traumatize religion, okay? Because there's 450 plus religions, and the common thread is love. Take what you like, leave the rest. To thine own self be true. You get to decide that shit. Decide in the higher power that you're going to tap into. Because I'm telling you right now, without a higher power, I will not be here. I would be dead. Okay, I would be dead. And I'm not going to tell you about you, but I believe that we all need, if it's a higher self, a higher goal, a higher vision, whatever it is, if it's the ocean, the nature, the universe, like we're not making Earth float. You know what I mean? So I fast forward, I was able to go study with Native American. I was in Native American churches, and I was in the peyote. I was taking peyote plant medicine, and I was healing my sexual trauma, y'all, with the chief on my knees for 12 hours and just learning and praying and chanting. And then my powers awakened, and Reiki healers and psychic and shaman. I started training as they were healing me. All my powers were awakening, y'all. We're remembering I'm a soul in a meat suit. I'm living a spiritual experience. I get to be here because I choose to be here, and I don't want to disassociate no more. I don't want to have to use food. I don't want to have to use codependency. I don't want to have to use my wife, my son, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just want to be happy by putting my hands on my heart, and that's enough. I am enough. And like Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life is a powerful book, y'all. Powerful, powerful, powerful book. And I'm sharing a link tree because I have a lot for y'all. And it says in here, it's only a thought, and a thought can be changed. Resentment, criticism, and guilt are the most damaging patterns, okay? Releasing resentment will dissolve all sicknesses, okay? We must release the past and forgive everyone. Now, forgiveness is hard. Forgiveness is a choice. And I know I remember before I'd be like, you're tripping. Isn't that a privilege? I did a lot of therapy, and I suggest, I'm an advocate for, please go get some mental health help. I am not a doctor. Yes, I have a lot of certificates. I have all of the things, but like for real, a PhD is important sometimes with mental health. Okay. Getting a doctor to help me walk through these hard things that you might get triggered today, and if you're not, if you think, because as Black, as Latina, as Afro-Caribbean, Jamaican, they think it's like dumb, like you're broken or something, but that's colonization, y'all. They want to keep us thinking that we don't deserve to be better. So decolonize your mind. I am decolonizing my mind every single minute I breathe. with the intention to honor my ancestors. I am royalty. We are royalty, but I live in a psychosis of I'm not good enough. I'm this, I'm that. I'm not, I'm not enough. It's a lie. My mind is a liar. And when I learn that, and then I have the power to make a choice, decide that I'm going to get some help, whether it's one of us on this podcast, whether it's a doctor, whether it's a 12-step group, only you know, but like I can't do it alone. I couldn't do it alone. So I use plant medicine, and then I use 12-step programs to get sober. I'm 6 years sober in June off alcohol, 6 years sober in August off of weed, like smoking weed and stuff. And that's a big deal. So, and my sobriety date's August 30th, 2017. 2017, my life was like, it was done. It was done. God was speaking to me. Spirit was like, you have so much to do, but you got to heal yourself first. So as a practitioner, as a Reiki master, so learning it, I started back in 2015, 2011 is when my dad died. I did all this healing. My intention wasn't to become a holistic life coach. I teach yoga, I teach meditation, I teach breath work. But then Spirit was like, yo, I healed myself. I am my first client. I was able to make the decision to move 3,000 miles away, find out that a therapist was like, why don't you try 12 steps? I'm like, what do you mean? I got money, I got a little fame, I got this. I'm not homeless on the street. I don't drink every day. She's like, honey, just go take a listen. I was like, what? So I went to something called Al-Anon because it's about family of dysfunction. And then I hated everyone in there. They reminded me of my mama, and I love it now, but I was sick then. I was still sick. It was 2011. They were like, well, honey, maybe you need, AA. And I was like, what? I was like, you look at me. And I just went and sat in the meetings, and I never felt the feeling of being so seen. And my life cracked open, and I was like, oh my God. So then I caught what they call addiction. I caught alcoholism because I started learning about the disease that lives in my mind, my obsession, my rumination, the hole in my soul that I want to fill with anything outside of myself, especially toxic relationships, perpetuating the toxic patterns from my childhood, from my perpetrators, the pimps. I was acting like a pimp. And you know what? I try to be a pimp. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I was the worst drug dealer. I was the worst pimp because I would talk to these girls and be like, are you sure you want to do this? Like, why are you doing this? Drug deal. Like, yo, it's so funny. It's so funny. Like the healed healer I am now. Like I try to run an escort service. I was running with gangs and mafia and all like guns, shootouts. Like I think back on how many lifetimes I've had in this life. Who you see here today, 20 years ago, almost died. I had near-death experiences. Okay. I took chances on myself. I wrote my way out. I found things. I have a passion of music. I have a talent with music. Whatever your passion is, whatever your talent is, like clay, pottery, self-care, like do it, because there's something in there that unlocks a happiness that allows me to feel like I deserve better. And it might seem simple because we're like, no, I got to pay the bills. I got to take care of my parents. No, boundaries. I got to fill my cup up. Okay. And then give from the overflow. That's a privilege because I'm a mother now. And I realize I got to just at least keep my cup at half full. I can't give from the vapors. And then burning myself out, getting head cold, stressed out. You know what I'm saying? So I digress because I'm just so passionate about helping wake people up. And I'm honored that I get to now be a Reiki master and a holistic life coach, a spiritual coach, and guide people to their higher selves and teach people and help people how to heal and thrive, heal and deal with life in an emotionally intelligent way. Reiki is the most powerful thing that I've ever remembered. Okay. I'm a healer. I'm a shaman. Like I laugh. I said the gangster shaman because trauma initiated me. And to say really shaman, it's like you have to be born in that lineage. I am not a shaman. I honor it. And I honor the shamans that I have worked with that have lineages of that, but it's in my bloodline. It's in my roots. Okay. So I tap into that power. And I remember meditation is powerful to be able to sit and breathe and learn our energy field. Okay. To be able to breathe and sit into like my first energy center, which is at the bottom of our hips, right? That's our
Sorry, looks like we
the
have
energy fields. Most turned off. It's the healing book. Huh?
Sorry, we're kind of getting you.
The energy was just too
Yep,
real.
yep.
It was just too real. Damn. No. Keep going.
Yep.
Can y'all hear me now? All right. I'm going to give you guys a packet to discuss more about that because I have no time to get into the Reiki. But I do want to tell you, I don't know where y'all cut off or where it left. And nobody's timing. So Bren, you got to let me know when I'm like, you know what I'm saying, reaching time.
Yeah, you have like a few minutes left.
All right, cool.
Like 5 minutes.
Now being the having the capacity to know that the power of energy fields and chakras and energy centers is somebody I study with Joe Dispenza. So powerful. You can break the habit of being yourself, you know, and you can be able to have discipline and the ability to choose. But if you're not in your own body, you can't make a choice. I'm hijacked by social media. It's media, y'all. It's media. I reframed that whole thing of competition when I realized I was being bamboozled. Don't be bamboozled. You know how many fake accounts that have hijacked my stuff because you get a little light and you get a whatever, they're not real. My accounts, I get DMs with hundreds of people talking about, is this you? I'm like, y'all are asleep. It's not me. It's obviously a fake account, but that's a very telling sign of where that person is in self-awareness. If you're sending money to this account and you got bamboozled, it's time to wake up. I'm just going to keep it all the way real because there's no time left. So I am so proud and honored of myself that I am now happily married to my best friend, to the love of my life. I stopped manifesting narcissists because as the empath, that's what we do. I manifest people that treat me the way I think of myself until I change my thinking, until I decide to change my thinking and really love myself in my thoughts. That might seem radical because it is. The mirror work, looking in the mirror and saying, I unconditionally love and accept you as you are. I love and unconditionally accept myself as I am. That made me very uncomfortable at first, you know, and going back into that inner, like my inner child, the inner little baby girl who was so traumatized, finding her, she was in a dungeon. I shared that honestly when I had to first go into meditation and sit and, you know, do the visualization, which y'all, everything is energy. We are magicians. We are magic. Do not limit yourself with the stupid media and colonized history of what they tell us we can be. It's a lie. It's a lie. I create my reality. I create my moments, but I must learn how to not let my emotions guide my life. Emotions are valid, but baby, they're not real. And that's not me gaslighting you. That's me and what I found for myself. They are also valid. But honey, if I reacted on every emotion every day, I'd be in jail. Just straight up. Do you know how much I got to pause to not smack a bitch that wants to touch my hair all day long? Every white woman walks up to me being like, oh my God, light-skinned Black girl, oh my God, I can talk to you. No, why? But I pause and I call on my higher power and I be kind because humans are humans and she's just trying to connect. She's fetishizing. I'm beautiful. Thank you, God. And allow me to be the light and allow me to have compassion. So I will end with this. I am honored and privileged to be a Reiki healer. And if you want to tap into yourself, I'm going to put a Reiki healing packet in there where my book is in there. My Thrive affirmations for transformation will be there. And if you have an insight, if you're like, I really feel like I'm stuck and I don't know how to crack open and conquer myself. If you're in your body and you might be the most brilliant millionaire mindset coach, all this stuff, but it has nothing to do with energy work, y'all. There's a pie to life. There's a pie to life. The love, the family, the creative, the business, the spiritual, the holistic. I am a holistic coach and I help people awaken to their true self, to be happy, joyous, and free, y'all. And with that, I will let this go. And I'm so honored and proud for this sisterhood that we're creating. And I just want to pray success and happiness and compassion and ultimate limitless success for all of us, and true health and true wealth, which is inner wealth and inner validation and an inner knowing that we are good enough. And let's go and let's grow, baby.
Oh, blue. What can I say? Last night I did a meditation and it was talking about releasing the things that wasn't serving us and then having this blue light come in and fill those cracks in your heart and keep it covered and safe, right? And here you are. You are my blue. Like, it's wild. I can't even explain. I could talk to Blue forever. I could hear her forever, but really from the get, I met her wife first, right? I met Brandy first, and then I met Blue. And then Blue was like, we need to be friends in real life. Let me text you. When she says like this social media shit, she's not lying, you know? And it has come to the point in my life where I'm like, okay, we've let social media use us for so long. We've done the like, oh, look at so-and-so. Oh, they're so happy. Oh, they're on vacation again, blah, 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 blah. But no, now it's time for us to use social media for the connections and then be off, right? As much as I'm on social media, because I create content, because I'm trying to communicate and network and see what's going on, I don't let it take up all the space in my life because it's not real. It could be gone tomorrow. And then what? So thank you again, Blue. Blue has dropped that link in there for you guys to download it. And I'll also, she put her Instagram in there too. Again, anyone that you guys hear here today, if you for some reason couldn't find them or whatever, just DM me on Instagram. I'll send them to you. I'll send you whoever it is that I feel like could best help you. And thank you again, Blue, so much for this. And I don't know if she'll be inside of We All Grow doing healing, but she just did a healing circle the other day for like the monthly wellness, and it was amazing. Her Reiki, you guys, you could really feel it.
Blue, I just want to say, anytime you speak, it sounds like just music. Like I could just listen to you all day. You are so fucking incredible, and I just want to give you your flowers. I'm so honored to be in your space right now. So thank you.
Thank you, Leanne. I feel the same about all three of y'all.
Oh my God, Blue, I feel like you were serenading me. Actually, I'm like, I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to cry. I'm fucking crying. I felt all of that. And one of my intentions that I put is like, I just want to really hold the space to allow what needs to be heard to be said for us today. And thank you for doing that for me. And I'm sure I'm speaking on behalf of all of us here. You were heard loud and clear.
I'm crying too now.
Thank you.
Yes, Blue. Thank you again for taking up that space, for letting me know that I can take up the space too. All right, you guys. And you're like, wow, there's more. But wait, yes, there's absolutely more. This last speaker that I have for you guys that I have invited is someone who has really just helped shape my life in these last 2.5 years, whatever it's been, because she was the first coach that looked like me. Representation matters so much, you guys, because before Esperanza, when you would Google best coaches, best life coaches, you get Tony Robbins and you get, I don't know, Dean Graziosi, Brooke Castillo, you get all of these people. And the first one that I kind of resonated with was Brooke Castillo, because at first I was like, oh, Castillo, maybe she's Latina, right? Started looking into her and then started listening to her podcast. And then in one of her episodes, I heard about Esperanza. And then I looked her up and then I was like, oh my God, she looks like me. She can if she could do it. I started learning more and more. And it's crazy because even though I've known her for these years, I still learn more from her. You guys, we are whole beings with lives. This year I turned 30. In 2 months, in a month and a half, whatever, I turned 30. This is years of experiences, things that have happened to us, things we've experienced, things we've felt, seen, heard, and really like these connections. So without further ado, we have Esperanza, who is a life coach. I don't know what it was that I put on there, but executive life coach, but she also life coaches people that are not executives. I'm not an executive. I guess I am of my own business, but she's also just this inspirational speaker that will move you. And even if you think like, oh, I know who Esperanza is after today, I guarantee you could learn so much from her, more from other episodes and other podcasts. And Esperanza, mic is yours.
Thank you, Bren. Let me just start by saying, when we started this an hour ago, I just stopped to look at you. And I'm just so proud of the certainty that you're showing up with. I'm so proud of who you've become, right? This is always like, it wasn't when we get there, it's who we become in the process. And I see you. And I'm just so proud of you. I remember even just the very first conversation that we had and the growth that you've had, because you don't take no for an answer. You're pretty stubborn about that. One of the things that I love. And so I'm just so honored to be on the other end receiving this with you and with Blue and Leanne and all of you. So thank you with that today. One thing came up for me when I was listening to the other speakers today. I don't know, you can put it in the chat if you know who Jenny Rivera is, who she was, and how her music speaks. So I am Latina, Mexicana, And there is a song that she sings called, I'm going to get you choked up thinking about Blue. You really just like, oh, I was like, I'm not going to cry today. I'm not going to cry today. There's a song that's called Mariposa de Barrio, and I'll say it in Spanish, and then I'm going to say it in English. But she says, aquí estoy, vengo desde muy lejos. El camino fue negro, pero al fin ya triunfé. And it's saying like, I'm here. I've come from a long road, and it was dark, but I'm here. When I hear that song, I think about how true that is for all of us, all of the roads that we've traveled alone that was dark. And sometimes when we looked while we're walking through it, we maybe can't see the other side. And there's one part in there that she says, me arrastré. And she's literally saying, I dragged myself. It was hard, but I dragged myself to make sure that I was going to make it to the other side. And when I filter that through my brain, I'm thinking, even at her darkest, at her lowest, there was still this level of belief in herself that she could make it to the other side. And this is what I really want to continue to spark in you, because 70% of this work is awareness. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about me, but I'm going to do that at the end because I want to show something and bring it to life. When you think about what are the decisions that you need to make. And I'm going to follow suit with Blue because we're going to start with our thinking and what we're thinking about ourselves. So I'm going to talk about self-concept, and I have my whiteboard here. So let's start there. So with everything that you've heard today, there's a lot that's coming up for you in your head. So I just want you not to filter anything and just start noticing like what's here for you right now. Let me get on this side. So self-concept. And when I was thinking about what I was going to talk about today, I think the most powerful thing that I can leave you with personally is realizing how powerful you are. And it always starts with what we're believing about ourselves. Thoughts are literally, beliefs and what we believe are literally just thoughts that we continue to talk about, we continue to believe. Maybe we picked them up when we were 2, maybe we were 7, maybe we were 12. I'm 35 now, and I have finally let go of some of those thoughts that I was thinking about myself that I picked up when I was 12, that when I picked up when I was younger. And I just want you to think about what are some of the thoughts that you're believing about yourself and your capability and what you're able to do. Okay. So not based on anything in the past. So let's go through this. So your self-concept, they're all the thoughts that you have about yourself. It's who you believe that you are. So a lot of us will say, oh yeah, we're moms, we're wives, we're husbands, we are business owners. But I really want you to start thinking like some of my thoughts, I'm a fucking genius. My brain is so valuable. And I believe that as I believe like the sky is blue outside now, but it wasn't always like that. I used to think like I'm fat, I'm ugly, I'm stupid. I didn't have a high school diploma. I'm never going to be able, like somebody's always has an advantage over me, right? Like those kind of thoughts that just are not serving us. So self-concept is what you believe is possible for you throughout your lifetime. And everything, literally, I want you to think about, I always use the analogy of, think about the room that you're in right now. Maybe you're listening to us and you're driving in your car. Think about the car that you're in. Think about the people that you are in relationship with. Think about your job. Think about your body. Think about your money. Think about your position. Think about your roles. Every single thing that's in your life has been created by thoughts that you've had before this very moment. What? When I first heard that and I started thinking about that, I was thinking like, that's not true. Like, how could that be true? Because our brain will naturally want to go into, I hate saying victim mentality, but it's kind of like where it goes to. Like there's an advantage over there. There's a reason why we don't have it. There's an advantage over there. But once we start becoming aware, like if it really is true that our thoughts create our results, and everything that I have right now has been based on all of my past level of thinking, wouldn't we want to take responsibility of that so that we can create anything that we want to going forward? That's what I really want to sell you on today. I really want to sell you on your beliefs and your capability of you for you. So there's 3 ways that we can see ourselves. There's us now. There's me now, Esperanza. I have a beautiful business, a beautiful family, so much more belief in myself. Today I'm celebrating. I finished a 90-day program that, let me just tell you, it took me 3 years to finish that. I kept trying for 3 years and I finally did it this morning. And I just cried like, oh my God, I've grown so much more belief in myself and my capability, because when I look back, I kept thinking like, me in the past, this default mode, my brain always remembered that when we got to day 50 of 90, we quit. So then what would happen? I keep thinking that every fucking time I quit around day 50, but not this time. Because now I'm like, oh, I see how I'm creating that result. Not going to do that. Day 50, we're just getting started. We're just getting revved up now. So there's us now, there's our past now, which our brain, which I alluded to, is in default mode. Like it doesn't know to think about you in the future unless you're actually giving it guided direction to go there. Okay. So 3 versions: you, past, you now, your past, your future. And what I want you to think about when you think about the trajectory of your life, so I want you to think about the future. And this is what I want to tell you about the future. Your future actually doesn't give a shit about anything that is happening right now or anything that has happened to you in the past. So all of those little things like, but I always failed, but I've never been able to do that, but that never works out for me. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. Right now, today, in this moment, when we finish the summit, you can think like, what is the decision that I'm going to make today? And then you're going to own that and you're going to be able to walk into that future version of you. Like today, I met my future self. Esperanza, who does what the hell she says she's going to do when it comes to her fitness. It was like the one area that I could not get right because my identity shift from let me give you a spoiler alert. I was going to tell you about myself in a little bit, and I will, but I used to be an Army officer. So as the identity in that role, I could run, I could do 63 push-ups in 2 minutes. I could do whatever it took because that's what I had to do. But then when it didn't become mandatory for me to do that, my brain was like, we don't have to do it, right? So my identity shifted. And because it shifted from my identity, I was like, oh, I don't know how to do that anymore. That's not me anymore. But we can be anything that we want to be if we decide we are first, not based on if I'm still in the role as an Army officer. That's ridiculous that I was even thinking like, oh, I'm not going to be fit anymore because I'm not in the Army. That's crazy. But think about how many crazy things that we let our brains go to default mode first that are like running the life and running the show of our life that we don't have control over. So when you think about these 3 versions of you, the one thing that I want you to really think about is where is your identity today and in the future? Because I don't give a shit about what happened in the past. Yes, I love you and I do care about that, but not when it comes to what you are capable of doing. Okay, not when it comes to what you are capable of doing. So where is it tied to and where are we going next? Then what I want you to think right now is in your notebook, I want you to think about, and you can put them in the chat. I'd love to see them. What are 5 thoughts that you currently believe about yourself? And don't filter. Like literally, just give me the 5 thoughts that your brain is tossing up. Just give me a couple of them. You see fear. You will always be depressed. I'm bad with relationships. Yeah. What else? I'll always be depressed. Don't worry about the legibility of this. I'll read them to you. People will judge. Oh, I'm so good at getting things done for other people, but never for myself. Yeah. I won't be accepted, misunderstood. What? I can't communicate. I lack self-discipline. I'm just different. Feel like I'm alien. I don't even belong here. Slow and consistent, hardworking, lonely, powerful. Yeah. I wanted you to, thank you so much for sharing all of these. Yes. Yes. A lot of mine were like, you are not smart. You're just not smart. Like that was the story of my life. I always told myself, I'm not creative. I'm not smart. I can't do anything. I never follow through. I can't finish. I'm a procrastinator. Oh my goodness. How many times have any of you guys said that you were a procrastinator? Is that part of your language to yourself? Yeah. And in the chat. Yes. Ooh, I'm so lazy. Ooh, I had that one too. Lots of them. Right. So a lot of these we can all relate to. And the reason why I want you to have them out is because 70% of this whole, when it comes to human change and changing the patterns of our brain, is being aware, 70% of it. And then we go into the practical application, which we're going to do a small thing here today. I'm exhausted from life. Yeah, all of these thoughts. I want you to now think the opposite of these. What are 5 thoughts that you would actually love to believe about yourself? Maybe there's a gap still. So for me, when I left the army and then I went to a corporate gig, when I was leaving there before I started my business, I really wanted to believe that I was brilliant, that my thoughts were valuable, that I could really live my dream of being a life coach and people would pay me. Like I really wanted to believe that. But in the beginning, I did not believe that about myself. I was thinking things like, I'm not good enough yet. They can do it because of this. I can't do it because of this. I'm probably going to need another certification. I don't know enough. Right. And if we let our brain, if I would have let my brain continue around that path, I wouldn't be here today. So awareness is so powerful. What are 5 thoughts? So mine, I wanted to believe that my brain was valuable, that I was worthy, that I was good enough right there today in the moment. I didn't need anything else. So Priscilla, let's reframe that thought. I wish I wouldn't ruminate so much. So what we want to believe is, I'm able to decide, right? Like I'm able to make a decision and honor that decision. Instead of like ruminating and questioning, we're able to decide. This is why I was put here, that I have a purpose in this world. Yes, that I'm actually great. I'm favored by God. Yes. Yes. There's a way to make a living from my wisdom and knowledge. Yes, Lungi. And there totally is. Oh, so good. I'm able to decide and make a decision. I know I can reprogram myself and just be better, holding myself accountable. Yes. See how those thoughts are so much more high value thoughts. When we think those kind of thoughts, we're going to do something completely different because those thoughts are going to fuel a different feeling. They're going to put us in a different place emotionally. Our vibration is going to be different. We're going to show up and take a different action, and we're going to get the result that we're always thinking about. So for me to work on, I'm going to go back to I'm valuable. I had to do things that in the beginning, like, oh, well, maybe I would be more valuable if I do this, or maybe I could trust myself here. And then we like slowly build. Now there's like, of course, there's not even a doubt in my mind of how valuable I am as a human, how valuable I am as a life coach, how able and capable I am. But in the beginning, there's going to be a gap, and that's okay. We just want to be aware of that gap. We want to be aware of that gap so that we can expect it. But I want you to take those thoughts of what you want to believe very seriously, because right now, the only thing, there's a gap in the way from where we are now and where we want to be. So your work today, after you make a decision, is to figure out what is that gap? What's going to actually lead me there? What am I willing to do to guarantee that I can get to the other side of that? Am I actually willing to feel that? Maybe ooh, that's a good one. I think a lot of people that will go out, make a decision and do a goal, we stop, myself included, when it gets hard and when it gets uncomfortable and when we don't want to do it. And then your brain starts to negotiate. And so you want to decide ahead of time, what are you willing to feel in exchange for reaching that goal, for reaching the other side. I get 2, 5. Which leads us to the decision. What have you decided? Has anybody decided something that they want to do, something that needs to be in place, maybe something that needs to be removed? Do you have a goal that you have set for yourself by listening today? Like, what's coming up for you? And when you think about what that is, whether you're doing this now or you're watching the replay later, I want you to think, what would you think differently about you now if you've already achieved it? Because this is us right now, right? This is in the before. And what would you think differently if you were already there? So we can take a goal, we can take a workout goal. So for me, 90 days seemed like so hard, completely impossible. And when I was starting, I'm like, I don't actually know if I'm going to trust myself to make it through. So then I challenged myself, well, like, what if I already achieved it? What would I think about myself then? What would I do differently then? And from that place, I'm like, I would honor my word. And this is like the one area of my life that I haven't been able to master. So if that's possible, then anything is possible. And from that kind of energy, I'm like getting my ass upstairs to the gym, making sure that I go up there to do it. So you really want to ask yourself, what do you do differently when you're already there? Yeah, I will no longer compare myself to others, and I will honor myself just as I am. I've decided that I'm going to stop letting people who are uncomfortable with my potential to intimidate me because I am a threat to them. Ooh, Flor. Beautiful. That is the work of our lives, I think. And that is so good. I had to do a lot of work on that throughout my journey. And I just want to celebrate that for you as well. That's so beautiful. And there's so much within that breakthrough of just making the decision to become the person that you know that your future self is, that you want to be. And it doesn't matter how uncomfortable that makes anyone else. There's going to be a lot of people. And this is something like Bren, I've always said, you're the only person that has to hold the vision. You are the only one. So it's not your spouse, it's not your parents, it's not your kids. Like, don't set your goal and think that other people are going to be on the same level with you. And that's okay. As long as you hold the vision, eventually, as you start to become it, then they're going to start seeing it. And if they don't, then you have a decision to make too about how you want to interact there. But yeah, I'm so proud of you because a lot of people will hold back based on the energetic discomfort based on the people that they're around. So this right here, I believe, is the formula to life. I got this idea for this concept when I was reading Jose Silva's book. It's called Mind Control. Jose Silva, big fan. He talks about how when you are truly in alignment with your desire, what we're going to do is we're going to pair that with belief. Okay. So this is the formula. Desire plus belief plus expectancy. It's actually times expectancy equals the result or the experience. The reason I had you start thinking about those thoughts that you want to believe and you want to do the work to believe them is because your thoughts always going to show up in your experience of what we're creating, of what we're being, of what we're doing, of what we're having. And so if we want a different result, we want to make a decision that's going to help us get there, we're going to need the thought work to support us, okay? It's not enough to try to do and action our way there. We're actually going to limit ourselves. But if we can have the thoughts that support us and see us there, then what happens is we take that desire and we start to fuel that desire. We fuel that desire. Then we start to really believe that we could have that. So we want to pair desire and belief together of us already being there, the future state of who we are already there. And then I want you to expect it to come true, just as you expected to get on this session today. So for the session, you signed up, you had it on your calendar. Maybe you I'm like always telling my phone to remind me at a certain time to log on, and you expected to be here. I want you to start expecting all of the things that you want in your life and the life that you want to live that same way. What would change if you actually expected to meet that goal? What would change for you? And you can go there and start thinking about it, using your mind to visualize what that would look like to help you get into that feeling mode of expectation. But I always say we can't expect to receive anything that we can't see. And if we can't see it, how can we expect it? A lot of us have these goals and we're like, one day I'm going to do this, someday I'm going to do this. But how many times does that actually come true? It's not going to come true until we make a decision and decide that it is. And that is the work of expectation. Because when you have a desire and you believe that you, yes, you're good enough, you're worthy right now, then you expect it. How can you not have the result or the experience in your life? I'm going to show you exactly what I mean. I'm going to prove this formula to you right now. So, I don't know if you can see this, but I'm just going to talk over it for you. This is my lifeline right here. When I was 15, I had my first son. Joshua is going to be 20 years old this year. Crazy. When I was 17, I had my second son. Xavier just turned 18 last month. I was here, like in the middle of domestic violence, abuse. This is where those thoughts came to me, like, I'm not worthy, I'm fat, I'm ugly. That was just my normal life. I grew up seeing my mom being abused. And as much as I said, like, that was never going to be me, it totally was me. And I allowed that to continue until I was 17, because I would think, who's going to want me? Single, 17-year-old with 2 kids, stretch marks, on welfare. I had dropped out of school. I didn't even have a high school diploma. I was living in Section 8. I was on welfare, which I was so thankful for. But I was living the life of a statistic. I don't think I'm ever going to be able to talk about this until, like, without getting emotional. This life here that I was living, like, it was like, I'm not going to say that it was written for me, because those were my decisions and I take full responsibility. But I didn't even know back then that there was an option to think something different other than I'm a teen mom, no diploma, no education. That's where that one of the thoughts was like, I'm so stupid. I can't do anything. Because I was just living this life, and it was never even an option for another thought to come in. Nobody ever said, like, oh, Esperanza, like, you could totally go to school still, you know that? No, there were thoughts like, you've really messed up your life. This is going to be who you are. Right. So everybody around me kept telling me who I was. And I remember one day riding the bus, I just kept thinking, like, what if this didn't have to be who I am? It was like this one little tiny seed where God talked to me, said, maybe you could. And so I put on here, I dared to dream. And my very first decision that I ever made in my life by myself, for myself, was when I was 20 years old and I decided to go and get a high school diploma. And just the thought of that made me want to throw up, because it was so far from all the thoughts about who I thought I was and what I was capable of. It was like defying all of that. So I thought, I actually left my son's dad. Actually, that was the first decision. Then I was like, let me see what I can do at school. Let me go and do that. So I got a high school diploma at 21 years old. I still remember I walked the stage like I was Vanna White when I graduated, and my sons were in the audience, my family, and it was just amazing. And in that moment, I felt proud for my first time in my life. So I was like, oh, I'm like loving whatever this feeling is on stage. I want to do more of it. So that led me to get, from between the ages of 21 and 24, I went to community college, got 3 degrees in a year, went to university, got a bachelor's degree, decided I would join the military as enlisted. So I went into the Army, failed basic training the first round. It was really tough because I couldn't shoot. So they asked me if I wanted to go home, and I said, nope, I'm going to finish what I started, even though I really wanted to go home, but I didn't. So I stayed and I finished, I graduated, came back and decided, like, what if I could go to grad school? Went to grad school. And then I was like, what if I could be an Army officer? Did that. So like all of these started from that one decision to get a high school diploma, to see what's possible. And then I was able to bring that back into my own, like, oh, this is what I want to do. I started trusting myself and I started building integrity with who I was. And those thoughts of like, you're not good enough. Who's going to want to be with you? Sometimes they were still there in the background, but that's the work of our lives, is to rewrite our story and tell ourselves what we actually want to believe and what's possible for us to do. So throughout this time when I was when I was going to school, I was living in a 722 square foot garage apartment with my sons. And I loved it. It was the best thing ever. I had all of these thoughts thinking like, I'm only visiting, like I'm not always going to live here. And so it just helped me stay positive. And I was always focused on my future self. I didn't even know that concept back then, but I was always focused on where I was going, not where I've been and not where I was, but where I was just so happy because it was so much sufficiency. I had enough money to pay my bills, barely, but we got through it. And then I knew that there was like this plan that I was going to be able to go active duty and everything was going to change. So I was very, very focused on that. So I got my bachelor's degree. I did the Army thing. And right around that time, like right before I commissioned, I was married at that time and my husband died in a motorcycle accident. And he died like 6 months before I commissioned as an officer. And I remember thinking, because I didn't want to get off the couch. And I remember thinking, if I don't get off this couch, I was on my mom's couch, my whole life is going to stay similar to where I am now. Unless I get up. And so I got up. And a lot of people had many thoughts about that. Let me just say, so I can't remember who it was that put in there about what other people think about you. A lot of people had a lot of thoughts that I wasn't grieving right. But I was grieving and I also had to survive. So I got up, I finished my training. I graduated #1 out of my class, top 10% in the nation. That was when I was 27. And I just remember waking up that day. I put on my dress blues and I looked in the mirror with my sons and I said, "I still miss you." And I wouldn't have experienced that if I wouldn't have decided to get up. And I share that like really emotional story because I want to show you how easy it is for you to allow the negotiation in your head of when your brain will tell you you are not good enough. Maybe we should wait till next time. Maybe we can't do it. And I want to remind you that you can, no matter what the fuck happens and what life throws your way. You always have the ability to decide and do something different and get a different result and create a different experience for you and everyone else. It's a byproduct for your children, for your family, everyone else. Everything else will start to change. So that was when I was 27. When I was 29, I bought my first house. I got married. I met my husband when I was stationed in El Paso at Fort Bliss. My husband now. We bought a house. Me, the girl who lived in Section 8, take the bus. Me, the girl who lived in a garage apartment. And then when I was 30, I bought another house. And then when I was 32, I bought this 3-acre amazing house that has a guest house that's 3 times the size of that garage apartment that I lived in. And I'm not saying it in an egotistical way. I'm saying it to show you what the fuck is possible when you decide that you have your own back, no matter what, no matter where you came from. when I was 33, I'm 35 now. A little bit before that time I left the army, I got recruited into the best management consultant firm in the world when everybody told me how hard it was and how it's like impossible to do. I was able to do that. And then I left there a couple years later to do my own thing, which is as a life coach, so that I can help other people believe in themselves and always remember that there is always a choice and a decision to be made that can change every single thing for them. And I know that was really emotional. I'm so sorry about that. Actually, I'm not sorry about that. I'm not sorry about that because I know that whoever needed to hear that got that today. And so I'm Esperanza LeBron, a life coach that helps you rewrite your story. Thank you.
Ooh, I'm sure I had the tissues nearby because I just knew. I knew. And I have like pages of notes because from everyone because I just knew. Esperanza, thank you again for everything. Thank you for being vulnerable. Thank you for sharing your voice, for speaking up. Thank you. Because, like I said, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't even realize that I could anything. Like I could blank, right? And then even now, rehearing and seeing that timeline, it just makes me so excited for what's to come, for what happens when I have my own bag, for what happens when I have the support of people like you three. Like, Esperanza is my coach currently right now. I'm in one of her group containers, not one-on-one, in a group container, right? Because I see the power, the value in just seeing her weekly, hearing her weekly, then I have my days, my moments where maybe I haven't maybe I didn't get coached that week or whatever happened. And then I'm thinking in my mind, like, what would Esperanza say? What would Esperanza do? Right. So thank you again so much for that, Esperanza. And I think I had dropped earlier in the chat her Instagram. But Esperanza, feel free to drop your Instagram or your website so that people can see how to work with you. Because she has amazing offers, you guys, and I don't want you to miss out. All right. Are you muted or did you need to
Oh,
speak?
I was just going to say thank you so much. Appreciate that. Thank you all for being here. And thank you for believing in yourself and really making that step to decide to see what's possible for you. So powerful.
It absolutely is. All right, you guys, I know we are 10 minutes past the time, so I will keep my part very short and very sweet and to the point. At this point, I had asked you guys to set your intention. I had asked you guys to write down 4 decisions that you were going to make. And I was going to do it after every speaker for you to make a decision, but I think it'll sit best for you to wait till this call is over and to really sit with yourself, let it all sink in, and then make those 4 decisions. And then feel free to send them to us on Instagram, write them down, take a picture, share, however it is that shows that you are making these decisions so that we can also help you stay accountable with them and then see who can help you, what best, and just serve you. Like Liana already has a podcast out there with many episodes. So does Blue. She has the book. Esperanza has so many free resources and things going on. And just from her Instagram or places that she's been a guest, you could learn already so much. Just today, I'll send you guys this replay. I wrote down notes and I've seen her talk about this formula before, but really, like, if you put this to work, it can really, really help make the difference, you guys. There's kind of, for anyone watching it now or anyone watching it the replay, like if you're just like, oh, but financially I'm not there right now to like hire someone, that's okay, because all of us here already have so much out there, so much knowledge out there that you can, if you truly want to decide to start changing something and to do something better, the resources are already there. Be resourceful. Maybe that's one of your decisions. Decide to be resourceful, right? My part is, I'll start with this, that 7 years ago today, I decided to buy a brand new car because I had a car that I had when I turned 18. That was like an older model, whatever. So when 7 years ago, I decided April 22nd of 2016, I decided to buy a new car. 9 hours later, I totaled that car and went to jail for a DUI. And I think I totaled whoever was also part of that accident because I blacked out. Blue talks about those red flags. I had plenty of red flags before that night. And so many of them were part of me trying to really help my trauma that I didn't realize was trauma yet, really help numb feelings that I didn't want to be feeling. I wasn't willing to feel, right? And here I am, how I went from being that girl 7 years ago and buying the new car and being so reckless and then wrecking that car and ending up in jail. And then that just led to a domino effect of being so broke, or what I thought was just so broke because I had to keep paying all the things, all the trouble that I had got myself into. And realizing along the way in the 7-year journey that why that happened, yes, was because I was reckless, and because, as Blue was mentioning, I was trying to numb. I was trying to just pour all these other things so that I wouldn't have to sit with me. So I couldn't just look myself in the mirror. I just wanted to be go, go, go in order to not have to sit with everything that I was experiencing and feeling. And so now here we are 7 years forward, and I am in maybe one of the healthiest relationships with myself that I have ever been in, that allows me to have a very healthy relationship with my husband now, who was my boyfriend then, who had to go pick me up from jail. So you guys, it was not an easy call to be like, hey, guy that I've been with for a few months, like, this is me, right? So fast forward again, I'm getting coached. I'm in healthy relationships. I've been sober for almost 2 years, and something that I learned was Cali sober, because I still consume cannabis, or consumed, because this last 420, that was another decision that I've made that I think, like Blue was saying, I think I'm at a point where my spirits are telling me, you got to let go of kind of everything and see what's there. And that's not easy, you guys, because I always really have been an advocate of cannabis and how it helps me. And so I was telling my husband, maybe for me, that looks like right now, I just choose no more THC, because THC in wrong doses can really fuck with you. But the CBD and the other components of the cannabinoids can somehow really help your body in a healing way. So the decisions that were made for me were deciding to love me first, and love me first enough to do the healing work. And you guys, I know healing is trendy. I know you hear that shit everywhere. I'm not on TikTok that much, but I know there's like all kinds of TikToks about how to heal. And honestly, it means sitting with your ideas and your thoughts and really deciding, how can you take these little micro baby steps towards that? It doesn't mean, oh, I'm just going to go out and get a coach right now. Maybe there's Esperanza was talking about, maybe there's a big gap between that right now. But maybe it's like, hey, I'm going to reach out to one of these speakers and see, like, what do they recommend? Or let me see their free resources, or let me set up a few free consultations, right? Leanne just had that offer for us, right? The offer of, you get a free coaching with me to see where you're at, your individual needs. And I will say that for me too, personally, if you came here today, if you're watching the replay, go ahead and DM me so that I could set you up for that 1 hour, so that we can see, so that I could see individually where you're at, what your needs are, and how I can help, how I can serve. And I promise you, you guys have met us all. You guys went really deep with all of these speakers. Like, there's no sleaziness, there's no competition, there's no nothing. If I felt like somebody else was a better service for you, 100% will go that way. And so I was writing down the decisions I made in these last 7 years. I decided to love myself, to heal, to have fun. You guys, healing is so fucking hard, so messy, so up and down. Sometimes you take 10 steps forward, 9 steps back, like, and you have to find some fun in it, because if not, it's going to be just that much harder. It's going to hurt. So I decided to smile more. You guys, I've been told, and I like my own smile too. I've been told I have a great smile, right? You know the difference it is when I can see someone and smile, or the other day for the first time, I felt someone's pain. I've been touching way more with my intuitive feelings and all of that. And I was able to feel someone's, and it was just, we weren't even within 3 feet of each other and I felt it, you know? So being able to have that compassion, I decided sobriety. I decided courage and strength. I've always really resonated with courage and strength. And you need courage to decide that shit, whatever you guys are going to write down on your page, these 4 things, you're going to need courage to make all these decisions. And then you're going to need strength to keep getting back up when you fail. And I say fail because fail is just redirecting you better to where you need to go. Okay. So you're going to need strength to get back up and try that shit. To get back up, dust yourself off, you know, throw some antibiotic ointment on that scrape, right? And then go some more, right? And I also am deciding, and I decided this one last night after having a conversation with my father, that I'm going to be healing the relationships with the people that are close to me that I once felt hurt me. Because my father, he's a recovering alcoholic. He's also 6 years sober, and or 5 years, 5 years. And last night, I don't do a good job at calling him. I don't do a good job at keeping in touch with either one of my parents too good. Maybe we'll talk once a week, every 2 weeks, something, right? And for those people who have gone through hardships with their parents and then lost their parents, I have always heard like, I didn't get to blank, right? And so last night, I made this big decision that I'm going to find a way to rebuild this relationship with my father. And one of those things, one of the last things I kind of want to leave you guys with is just of that. We need to ask and really communicate our needs and wants, because I've always, since that 7 years ago, when I had that blackout in that car accident, because that 7 years ago was still me trying to survive from an abusive relationship, which if you guys, I don't want to get into that here. Go to Leanne's page or let me know and we'll send that episode. I 7 years ago was drinking and doing all the stuff to avoid all the feelings that came with my father leaving when I was young, my father being absent, the situationship that I was in, the abuse that I endured from that, from all of those things, right? From seeing my mom really have to take all this load, from realizing my mom has a story similar to Esperanza's, to now just realizing like, if I want to have that relationship with my dad, if I want to be daddy's girl, then I need to tell him these things. I need to call him. So last night I made that very clear in my conversation. He's like, oh yeah, you haven't called. And I was like, you know what, Dad, you can call me too. Actually, I would appreciate it if you called me too, because I'm building these things. I have the 2 girls. I still have my side hustle. I like all of these things. And sometimes my day just goes by. So can you please call me, even if it's 2 minutes and we get on and I'm like, hey, how are you? Who are you? How are you doing? What are you doing? And then bye, and we'll check in tomorrow. And then he choked up and he was like, okay. And all of these fucking years, I've been like, I wish he was, blah, blah, blah. He doesn't get it. Maybe it just took me telling him. And then I even shared with him about today. I even shared, Dad, tomorrow I'm doing, and mind you, my dad is Mexican. He is a citizen here now, but his English is not the best. He understands it. But so I've always had this thing of, how do I explain life coaching to my dad, right? For those of you guys who are first generation, I bet you get it, right? So I was like, tomorrow, Dad, I'm doing kind of like, and I know he understands what AA is, and because he goes to AA and he goes to these programs. I was like, you know how you guys have the talks there and that help people? I'm like, well, I'm kind of doing that tomorrow online. I was like, and one of the guests, actually, she's been sober for whatever. So I see how it must be hard for you. I see how you're going through it, Dad. And like, I want to be here. And so yeah, I'm doing this thing tomorrow and I'm so nervous. And you know what he told me, you guys? He was like, don't be nervous. He was like, think about it. All the times that we're fucking drunk and partying, we're singing. We don't care who's watching us, right? He's like, we be all y volver, right? Because he was all up into his chente when he was, drinking and stuff. He's like, and we didn't give two rats about who was hearing us. He's like, so tomorrow, like, go and speak and share and don't be scared because it's going to help somebody too. And so that is what I will leave you guys with. Make these decisions. Make the decisions to work on you. If it starts with simple as I want to love me first, love yourself by drinking water. Love yourself by breathing. Love yourself by brushing your teeth, because sometimes when Esperanza, maybe when you were on that couch, you had that feeling of like, I don't even want to get up and shower. I don't even want to get up and right. So make these decisions, you guys. I also have working with me. But first, if you want to just DM me so we get that first initiation going, and I will send you where you need to go, just because I want to be mindful of your guys' time. Take the sheet that I told you guys to start on. Look at your intention. If you guys, and I'm just curious too, drop it in the chat. If any of what you heard today resonated with the intention that you had, just drop a yes in there, because I'm just curious. If you're watching this on the replay, oh yeah, okay. If you're watching this on the replay, go ahead and send me that too. I'm getting yeses, yeses, yeses. Oh shit, maybe we hit 100% success rate on this, right? Because my intention was to help you make some big decisions and to get you to face your daydream life. So I'll also leave you guys with this. Write down right now when we get off, when you have the second today, just a few sentences of what your daydream life looks like. And maybe even more importantly, what does it feel like? What does it feel like? And you guys, I know you guys are going to try and give a sentence of what it feels like, because when you're new to this, you try and explain it so much. Try and find one word. Peace. There you go. Phoenix said peace. What does peace look like, feel like? That might be individual to everyone. Fun, joy, freedom. I'm seeing all of these come out in the chat. You guys, it's important to feel these feelings, because once you start acting from these feelings, once you start acting from a place of fun, joy, freedom, it changes the game, you guys. It really does. Okay. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Leanne. Thank you, Blue, Esperanza. I love you all so much. This is the first of many Decide That Shit. I'm not sure when the next Decide That Shit will be, but I know that it's valuable. I hope that this starts creating some change and ripple effects in your lives. And just go out and decide that shit, please. Any last words, speakers?
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I love you and I see you. I'm so fucking proud of you.
Oh, I love you all. Bye.
Love you all.